Hello dear learners, thanks for clicking. I hope you are all well by the grace of Almighty Allah. At the very beginning of my class, I would like to urge you to enjoy an animated video. Let's enjoy it. Dear learners, we are waiting for video.
Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient eater eyes upon a table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, a muttering retreat of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells. Streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask, what is it? Let us go and make our visit. The yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window pane, mixed its down into the corners of the evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in drains, made a sudden leap, and seeing that it was a soft October night, curled once about the house and fell asleep. There will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet, and time for all the works and days of hand that lift and drop a question on your plate. Time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions, and for 100 visions and revisions. In the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. And indeed there will be time to wonder, do I dare, do I dare? Time to turn back and descend the stair with a bald spot in the middle of my hair. They will say, how his hair is growing thin. My morning coat, my collar mounting firmly to the chin, my necktie rich and modest, but asserted by a simple pin. They will say that those arms and legs are thin. Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions which a minute will reverse. For I have known them all already, known them all, have known the evening, morning, afternoon. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. I know the voices dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a farther room. So how should I presume? And I have known the eyes already, known them all, the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I am formulated, sprawling on a pin, when I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin to spit out all the butt ends of my days and ways? And how should I presume? And would it have been worth it after all? After the cups, the marmalade, the tea, among the porcelain, among some talk of you and me? No, I am not Prince Hamlet, nor was meant to be. I am an attendant lord, one that will do to swell a progress, start a scene or two, advise the prince. No doubt an easy tool, deferential, glad to be of use, full of high sentence, but a bit obtuse. At times, indeed, almost ridiculous. Almost, at times, the fool. I grow old. I grow old. I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled. Shall I part my hair behind? Do I dare to eat a peach? I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me. I have seen them riding seaward on the waves, combing the white hair of the waves blown back. When the wind blows the water white and black, we have lingered in the chambers of the sea, by sea-girls wreathed with seaweed red and brown, till human voices wake us and we drown.
And this is Muhammad Azizullah Patwari, lecturer in English, Government MM College, Jashore. And welcome to my English class. Today I am going to talk about the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot was born in 1888 in St. Louis, Missouri, in US and was died in 1965 in London. He immigrated to England in 1914. His father, Henry Ward Eliot, was a successful businessman. His mother, Charlotte James Stearns, wrote poetry and was a social worker. His first wife was Vivian Highwood Eliot, and their union was bleak and unhappy. His second wife was Valerie Fletcher Eliot. Their union was calm and sustaining. He was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1948. Other qualities of T.S. Eliot and the title of the poem. T.S. Eliot was also an essayist, publisher, playwright, literary and social critic, and one of the 20th century's major poets. T.S. Eliot published the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock in 1915. The poem is not really a love song, though love is the underlying theme. It records indecision, hesitation, and postponement of the proposal of the lover. The poem is rather psychological, intended to dissect the suppressed feelings of the lover, especially his cowardice and irresolution. The scanning points of Prufrock's personality. The scanning points are as follows: split personality, indecision and hesitation, triviality, tendency to escape reality, nervousness, inferiority complex, cowardice and unadventurousness, anti-romantic, anti-hero, paralyzed will. Dear viewers, I think these points will help you to be clear and transparent about the idea of the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Split personality. Prufrock represents a split consciousness, a division between heart and head. His heart is his romantic self and head is his real self. His romantic self persuades him to go to his beloved and propose to her. But his real self clearly suggests that he lacks of necessary courage to speak out his feelings and propose to her. His romantic self says to his real self that both the selves should take Prufrock to her room in the evening when the atmosphere is quite still, as a patient on the operation table made unconscious with ether. Indecision and hesitation. Prufrock is a middle-aged man and he has the latent desire to mix with the woman whom he loves. He does not have the courage to propose a lady. He equates such a proposal with the fact of disturbing the universe. He hesitates to propose the lady because he thinks that whatever he says to the lady, she will reject him. He is being aged and has developed some physical limitation. He is afraid that The lady will mock at his boldness. This is why time and again he postpones his decision under a number of fabricated reasons. Triviality. Provok wants to make love with a lady, but he does not have the mental courage to disclose it. His failure stems from his own timidity and fear. He is unable to take quick decision to disclose his love to his lady love. He admits that his life is full of trivialities. He has wasted a good deal of time in taking coffee. Coffee spoons are the symbols of tiny measurements that helped him measure out his life. The idea of measuring his life with coffee spoons implies a lack of risk or excitement, and this is the indicator of his old age. Tendency to escape reality. Provok is a man of indecisive nature, and he never dares to voice what he feels. The effort of coming to a decision is too much for him. He wishes to be some sea animal, a crab who can run across the sea and thus escape the necessity of thinking and making decisions. He is so disgusted with his indecision that he longs for being submerged in the sea as an escape from the humiliation consequent on rejection. In his state of desperation, Provok wishes that he were not a human being but a marine animal which is incapable of any intellectual effort or spiritual experience. Nervousness. Provok thinks too much for his lady love, but it is impossible for him to say just what he means. Words are not able to convey what he feels. In his state of nervousness, he compares the eyes of the ladies to the X-ray machine, which can disclose the picture of things lying hidden inside the body, just as the interior of human body can be photographed by means of X-ray. So Provok's inmost thoughts might become known to the ladies through their penetrating eyes. They might be able to read his inner feelings, his cowardice, his indecision, and lack of courage, and they might laugh at him. Perhaps the lady whom he loves might tell him that she has never looked upon him as a lover or would-be husband. Inferiority complex. Provok wants to mix with women, but he does not have the courage to propose love to a lady. He is aware of his shortcomings too. He is indecisive, hesitant, and divided against his own self. He compares his indecision and lack of courage to that of Prince Hamlet in Shakespeare's play Hamlet. He cannot compare himself to Hamlet because Hamlet's indecision related to momentous affair of taking revenge upon his uncle Claudius, while Provok's indecision relates to such an ordinary matter as a proposal of marriage. He then compares himself with a character of lesser status, that is Polonius, whose task is to follow the king and his guest, initiate a small action to please and advise king. This is how Provok shows his inferiority complex and his willingness to postpone his decision under any pretext. Cowardice and unadventurousness. Provok wants to enjoy the company of women, but he does not have the courage to propose a lady love. He is conscious of his old age and wants to wear trousers of the latest fashion in order to hide his old age so that he can be acceptable to his lady love. He decides to walk on the seashore in order to escape the unpleasant duty of making decision. While walking on the beach, Provoke has heard the mermaid singing to his mythical figure Ulysses and his sailors are said to have heard the mermaid singing, but Provoke cannot rise to the level of the great hero Ulysses because he is not brave and adventurous. That is why Provoke is unable to hear mermaid singing. Anti-romantic. Provoke is an anti-romantic man. The love song of J. Alfred Provoke is not a spontaneous outburst of feeling of the lover for the beloved. It is the analysis of the mind of the lover who is unable to make a decision about making the proposal to the lady loves. In a series of paragraphs, the lover analyzes the reason for irresolution and indecision and tries to justify his cowardice and lack of nerves. Anti-hero. The love song of J. Alfred Provoke is not a love song at all because this song is unsung. This love song ends where it began. Provoke is indecisive about his lady and has no idea of speaking out his mind. He may be called an anti-hero because he is nervous, timid, and cowardly. Sometimes he imagines himself as worm, sometimes as spider, sometimes as fish. Paralyzed will. Provoke is a modern man who suffers from spiritual paralysis. He can see the superficiality of the social values of the middle class society, but he lacks the will to break away from them and act on his desires. He can see the potential happiness and he wants to bring possible joy, make love and companionship with lady love, but he is paralyzed and unable to perform any action. So far today, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and share your comments in the comment section below. If you mind this video is very helpful to you, please share this video with your friends and family. If you like my channel, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. I will come back with new video very soon. Till then, take care and have a great day. Bye.